And also, excuse me, my voice, everyone. I sound like I've been smoking 20 a day.
It's finally caught up with you, Al.
I've got a bit of a cough and I've just been out too much. I'm not gonna lie, screaming excitedly.
Listeners, this has been a big week for Alex, and we don't have time to go into it, but just trust us when we say this has been one of Alex's like highlight weeks of her life.
It's been the best. It was the best night of my life. Everyone's like, more than your wedding, and I'm like, yes. I met all the neighbours' cast.
Oh, way more than your wedding. Forget
exactly.
The wedding. The wedding is just.
And they were like, "Oh, when your daughter was born." Yes, that's the worst day ever. Like, that's not a nice day, birthing.
Well, and Trixie got the lift on the milk float, and it made me think of when we were at university, Alex. We got a lift home once on a milk float because it was so early in the morning.
We did with Colin the milkman. If you're listening from Lancaster, Colin the milkman, he used to wear really small shorts, didn't he, all the time, no matter what the weather was. Lancaster is not warm. And he gave us a lift home up a hill because we were quite drunk. And it was amazing. And then he used to give us free milk, didn't he?
Well, he knew what he was doing because he left free milk and he left some other stuff on our doorstep.
Potatoes and orange juice. It was the most exciting day we've ever had.
And then, he knew what we were doing because from that moment onwards, we ordered from him stuff that just sat in the fridge and then just went off.
Yeah, but we did it. But for Colin.
Anyway, yeah.
Talk more about food you didn't eat 20 years ago. The people want to hear really a lot about that, I'm sure. Yeah.
21 years ago, actually, Jen.
What else went bad in your fridge when we were all 19 years old?
I didn't even know it went bad. Are we just drinking it? Are we just drinking it drunk? Coming out from the club.
Oh God, the things we drank and ate and did and said and everything when we were all inebriated in those days was disgusting.
But there, Colin was there to give us a lift out.
Trixie and Tom take over the Rose Queen parade for the local vicar, and when Marie and Tony are bullied by local housewives, Rose feels she cannot attend the event. Rose gives birth to their child, and she and Tony decide to forge ahead together. Rose attends the Rose... Sorry.
Rose?
I apologize. The Marie is Tony's wife.
Oh, because of the Rose Queen.
Okay, let me do this passage.
No, honestly, we're not doing this again because that's too funny. Carry on.
Okay, I'll just recap. So Dr. Turner speaks on Tony's behalf, and Tony is sentenced to a medical punishment and probation, and there is a fallout for their marriage and for the couple in their community. Trixie and Tom take over the Rose Queen parade for the local vicar, and when Marie and Tony are bullied by local housewives, Marie feels she cannot attend the event. Marie gives birth to their child, and she and Tony decide to forge ahead together. Marie attends the Rose Queen parade, and
I just say we definitely can't edit it now because you've said Marie so weirdly. So I'm not editing it. Carry on.
You've set a trap for me there and then blame me for it. Okay.
Now we do the Trixie storyline now. Trixie and Tom, but mostly Trixie.
Yeah. Trixie at the start of this episode is riding high. She's going to meet the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a euphemism.
But by the end, poor Trixie. I mean, this has been building for a long time with Trixie.
Well, the first thing that you see on this episode with Trixie is she's late, isn't she?
Yeah, she is late.
And I tell you what, Nurse Crane.
Mm-hmm. Wait, but she's like, when you say late, you mean punctuality late?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Jen, stop trying to make something out.
Well, sometimes deleted scenes, I'm like, because the thing is, what I didn't understand about that was she was like so obviously late for clinic, and then she's strolling along with Tom like she's got all the time in the world. I'm like, honey bun, I'm like, you were like an hour late for your job. Like, why are you not racing?
Well, Nurse Crane's there being like, sometimes I think you've got more frills in your brain than you do in your heart. I thought, Nurse Crane? Harsh. But last week, it was a Rose Queen episode. And I knew absolutely nothing about Rose Queen or anything. I now know that the Rose Queen has to be 12 here, so I don't know how old Marie Amos was. But my daughter has just signed up. She is the 2023, I won't name the village that I live in, but she is the fairy queen.
2023 Beep Rose Queen of the Beep area.
Well, she's fairy queen because she's 5.
Fairy queen.
The Rose Queen's about 10, I think.
But point being, that's why I did think it was a bit weird that Marie was, pregnant and married. They must have changed the way they do things, but yeah,
This is life imitating art. Hopefully, she won't face the same issues as last week.
I'm pretty hopeful that her husband won't be gay and leave her heavy pregnant, because she is 5, and well, she's only got a few months till she won't be heavy pregnant, because she's only got a few months till the Rose Queen, so she'll be.
But a girl can dream. I mean, there's a lot more opportunity coming up for her in the future ahead, so you never know.
Yeah, I'd love to do a shotgun wedding for my 5-year-old, innit?
Let's not go.
Oh, we're just 1 week late on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like this time last week, I didn't know anything about it, and that was the episode we were doing on Rose Queens.
Which just goes to show.
So next week, we're going to know about meconium births, maybe. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say sex work.
Or maybe I will attend a brothel that looks really that exciting, because Jen thinks it
well,
looks
apparently
great.
just walk into like a nightclub, and then you can have a fun second part of your evening after that.
You know what? I can't think of anything worse than walking into a nightclub.
Oh my God, the idea of going into a nightclub at this point in my life it sends shivers down my spine.
You know, I used to work at a nightclub, and one of the most depressing things is walking in and having the lights on, because they are disgusting.
Well, remember when we used to stay till the end of the night sometimes, and they would turn the lights on to get you to leave, and then you'd just be like, oh my God, you have to.
Yeah, but you were drunk. At least you was desensitized a bit to it. If you're working there, you're sober.
I know, but like having to confront all your choices at like 2:00 in the morning is just bad. That's all.
Anyway, on that note, thank you for listening. Do you know what? I would love to watch an episode where people talk about, to listen to a podcast, sorry, where people talk about this episode, because there's some things in this episode that made me lol. It was the bit with the nurse uniform, when Sheila wears the uniform and then Dr. Turner doesn't recognize her and says nurse, and then he's like, oh. And I genuinely thought that would be hilarious. So this is the actual episode that sparked this idea, and I was like, girls, I've got an idea. What we could do, right, is watch an episode of Call the Midwife and then talk about it, and we can call it Recall the Midwife. What do you think? And you were both like, no, they weren't.
I was like, I'm not sure about this.
You actually were. You did take persuading.
I saw the genius immediately, and I
am very, very glad you both agreed to do it. So thank you, ladies. Just wanted to say that.
Well, I mean, like, I can take like I'm not saying I do, but like I could take like. Well, I have at times taken like 4 or 5 Advil at once, and like don't
do that, Jen. That's really dangerous. I mean it.
No, I know. I don't do it very often. It's only ever been like if I'm like really, really in pain with like period pain or something like that. But like,
still doesn't excuse it. Don't do it ever again. This is on record. Okay.
And don't publicize it when you do.
I'm just saying
this will come up in the inquest specs.
Maybe this is part of it's not the only reason I'm not a medical professional. I would have tried to sign it to her. I would have been like.
Now, Becky has just done a very inappropriate.
I think they could have indicated what they wanted to do.
Well, I was talking to my friends the other day about this. So I went to a kid's party the other day, and someone's pregnant. We were talking about it, and someone's about to have a baby. Anyway, we were talking about the fact that in 2017, I had my child, right? Mm-hmm. And they still, to this day, use fingers as an indicator of how dilated you are. Now, you can measure things with lasers and everything nowadays. Why don't they do that to see how dilated you are rather than use fingers?
You'd prefer that they use a laser on your vagina when you're in.
I'd much rather have it's surely more sanitary.
No, because they've still got to go up there.
You're wearing a glove and everything.
Do they wear gloves? I'm joking.
There's that measuring tool on an iPhone. They could just get their phone out and shine it up there.
Exactly, that's what I meant.
No, anyway. I think you girls are being so.
No, I'm not behind this, Jen. I'm totally like. Also, the fact that you lot were having that conversation
at a kids' party. So the scene at the end when they burn in traditional traveller families, they burn, especially with the wooden caravans. Are they called caravans if they're wooden? I don't know. Anyway, but they burn the body in the caravan. And my daughter walked in on that scene.
Oh,
She loved it.
She absolutely loved it. She was like, "What are they doing?" And I was like, "They're burning a caravan." Why are they all watching it burn? I was like, "Well, actually, to be honest, it's my own fault. I was too in depth with a 5-year-old. I said a body's in there, but it's not real." And she was like, "Why are they burning the body?" I was like, "Because she's already dead." And she was like, "Oh, can I do that when I die?" It's like, yeah, mate, go for it.
Sure, whatever you want. It's your choice, you know? So I saw this part because Trixie's complaining about wearing the hoop skirt or the circle skirt
and Barbara's like, "I want to wear a poodle skirt," and she's like, "Oh, poodle skirt, you can't wear without being ironic, Barbara. You'll struggle." And Barbara just looks crestfallen and hurt because she really wants to wear a poodle skirt. And I had to like Google a poodle skirt. I thought it was like a style of skirt. It's just a skirt with a poodle on. Anyway.
Just to backtrack, because I've got to correct you, Alex, because you just said that a poodle skirt was basically a skirt with a poodle on it.
Yeah.
So I think you've just Googled poodle skirt, and that's what it's brought up for you. So it says one of the most iconic and fashionable trends of the 50s era was the poodle skirt. It was bright, colourful, long, swishy skirt that hit just below the knees.
Yeah, with a poodle on.
I think it
no,
also
but I don't think it
has
has to have a poodle on it.
It does not have. It doesn't have to have a poodle on it. I think it's also called poodle because of the petticoats underneath that are all frilly and everything.
Yeah, so I think you can have it with a poodle on it, but also
it doesn't have to have a poodle.
Oh, so I'm completely wrong. So I was right in the first place.
You're not completely wrong. You're just not completely correct either.
Yeah,
I was right in the first place, thinking it was something different.
Yeah.
Google has just served you skirts with pictures of poodles on.
Well, that's going to be my algorithm now. I'm going to be like buying poodle skirts and stuff. So in the meantime, while this storyline's going on, there's some Fred and Violet action. Have you noticed about the Violet shop again?
Yeah,
Gert went into Violet's shop to buy some
napkins.
Yeah, napkins, as in women's sanitary napkins. I'm guessing, were they?
That's how I took it.
That makes more sense.
What were you thinking? Like
what? You think like table napkins?
Yeah, I thought she was stuffing table napkins in a bra.
Yeah, but would like bows and ribbon store sell sanitary napkins, or would it just be more like the napkins that you thought?
Maybe sanitary napkins are similar to a table napkin.
But did they have to? I hope not.
Next time we have dinner at Bex's, I'm having an always pad down my front.
She's like, "Oh my god, I couldn't tell the difference. I'm so embarrassed. Sorry, I didn't look closely enough." Instead of putting this huge, massive maxi pad down and like laying the silverware on top of it. Oops.
It's spaghetti bolognese. Best get a night time.
Can you imagine someone just like dabbing their cheeks with like a huge, like 18-inch long maxi pad and everything? And Bex is like, oh no. It's happened again.
Different in those days. We don't know what it was like.
Thank God we don't know what it was like. That is, I would be ignorant
it wasn't like
forever.
Stuck to a front.
One more scene I want to talk about really quick is the Christmas scenes when they're all watching telly at the end and everyone's all happy and they've got a brand new Christmas pudding and Sister Monica Jones home. Well, great. They've all watched the concert. They've sung for the BBC and then they're watching Tom looking at Sheila. Not Sheila. That would be wrong. Barbara. Like he might be looking at Sheila, but he's back up the
Tom
wrong
was like, Sheila really brought this together.
Yeah. They did work together on the TV show.
And this is where Fred was sat in his vest in the yard, and they were all sat around in deck chairs eating ice cream.
Oh, that was one of my favourite scenes ever.
And Bex thought he looked, pretty jacked up, and yeah, she was
for a second.
Oh, goodness gracious, so sweet. The guns are out.
I'm not gonna lie. No offense to Cliff Rizzy, we know you listen. But yeah, not saying you're not attractive. You are. Everyone is in their own way. Oh, that's me. It sounds even worse, isn't it?
Let's move on or edit this.
Yeah. I'd like to think spiritually and energetically we're a lot closer than we were before. So that's how I'm going to take it.
I'm going to start a recall for Compline. But what's that, Beck?
We just need to manifest it.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I'm
I'm literally not
recall for Compline
in my life, but
well, maybe you should start hashtag recall for Compline.
Yeah, maybe we can like crash the set one day and like just steal some nun costumes from wardrobe and then just like go there, like like kind of like how they do in like movies.
I don't think planning a crime months in advance is good for number one, evidence for courts, and number two, the fact that they might be onto us.
I have actually watched. So they've been filming outside my office.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So, well, just I don't know what the show is. It's not.
It's not called Midwife.
I was like, what? Why else are mentioning this
They
now?
were filming outside my office. No, I don't know. It's some sort of crime drama because they've turned an office building into a police station. But I've been watching it, so I feel as if now I know the inner workings of an extra, because they literally do the same thing over and over again.
I can easily do that. I do it every week on this.
And even though you don't think they're in shot, then they do another setup, and then in the other setup they're in shot.
Which would be me overacting, singing in the background.
If you work for Recall the Midwife, I'm just saying, I feel like I have experience there.
Oh yeah, we follow that experience. Hashtag recall for Conklin.
Yeah.